All right, so guys, in this class, what we'll be doing is this is just a super simple HTML project, right? So what I want us to do is more or less like now communicate to server so that you guys can see how we can build a full stack application with Flask, right? All right, so let's begin. The first thing first I will want to do is to come to where I could describe as a server, right? So this is the server, and I'm going to create a dummy list that will be serving as the database, right? So let me say list to be equals to let's do Apple, right? Or let me just do name of person. So let's say Peter, and let's say James, right? So we have these two names, right? So that's super cool. So what I want right now, so again, I really need to put out this, right? So what I want right now is being able to pass this name, right, and get it displayed in let's work with the home screen, right? Have it displayed in the home screen, or depending on the page which you want it to be displayed on. So in this page, what we're going to do is after we pass in these, right, because this guy has the capacity to take more than one argument, right? So we're going to pass another, and the one we'll be passing is list that would be equals to this list, depending on what you're naming it as, right? So this can now serve maybe like as a database or something, right? So we're passing this list inside here. So in this template, we would have access to this through this, right? Through this list here. So let me save this and come back to, so let's go back here, come back to this home screen here. So inside this body, right? So that's where basically we'll be writing our code, right? So inside there, I am going to create something like a div, right? And say, let's say the names, something like that. So save that, and if I should refresh here, I should see the names, right? So right here, so let's just do this so that we can say px, right, will be equals to 4. Was it 4 we used? I think it is 4. Let me go back to my base and confirm. So back to my base, and let me confirm. In the header, so we used 5, right? So let me come back here and use 5 back. So save that, and I think rather than this around I used, using between would make better sense, right? So let's come back to this part and let's just use between, right? So that we'll be sure it's starting at the same point. So that's good. I would want to push this down a little, then make the title bold also, or bold. Yeah. So let's do something like PL and empty to be maybe 5 again, and yeah, so save that. So of course we shouldn't be using div here, so what I'll just do is to cut this off so that we can use a p tag, have that, then in here, so class, so let's do text to be x, should I? Yeah, let's do that. So uppercase, fonts to be semi-bold. What else can I do again? Let's save this. So if I should refresh, would have this. Yeah. So let me do nb to be 4, right? So that we can have our names here. Okay, having done that, I would come down here. So the names we took, I would want them to be displayed here. So let me just do this so that I can be sure that we're seeing the names here. So that's good. So what I'm going to do now is to do a for loop. So I want to do more or less like an iteration. So I'm going to say for I in, remember it was list. It's very easy to forget, right? So it's very important that immediately you open, you should close. And I just saw something here, so I should have my literals here. Okay, so since I have opened, I need to close. So I'm going to say end for. Remember that this is a for loop, right? So end the for. So right here, I can come here and call a p tag, and now I'm going to call I, right, which is the iteration. So if I should save this now, so I'll see Peter and I'll see James. So that's good, right? Now remember that this name is coming from this is my app.py, right? So it's coming from here. So let me add another name. So let's say we had Vicky. So save that. If I come back here and we do a refresh, we should be able to see Vicky added to this list. Yeah, so that's good. All right. So now what we want to do now is to add something, super interesting, which is we sort of like adding an input so that we can add value to this database. So let's come back to this point here, and just about this part here, right, which is my div, right? So I'm going to more or less like create another div tag, or I think I should have it down, right? So more or less like create another div tag. So inside this div tag, I'm going to have an input, and I would have a button, right? So let's do that button. So this button, we should just do let it submit, and so let's call class, and I'm just going to say flex, and let's do a gap of maybe 4. All right. So here we're going to call placeholder, and that would be maybe enter a name. Okay, and I think that's fine at least for now. So let's see. So yeah, we can see that. So let's do empty of maybe 5. Then let's do a border top, right, of 2. And what else can we do? So let's give it a border color. So let's maintain our gray of 300, right? To save that, refresh, we should be able to see this. Okay, so that's good, right? So I'm going to do a padding top of, let's say, let me do 5, right? So that there will be a space here. So that's good. So now inside this guy here, I'm going to call a class name, and so let's do border, and let's say rounded of MD. Then let's do a border color. We're going to stay with our gray of maybe 300. And what else again? So let's do px of 2. I think that should be fine. Let's see. Okay, so that's good. So let's do a py of 1, right? Because it looks too thin. Okay, so that isn't bad. I think I should as well do outline to be none. Yeah. So now that we have this, right? So this is good. This is good, right? So for some reason I don't like this curve. It looks weird. So let's do a maybe like a 200 pixel, right, width. So let's see. Okay, that's fine anyway. So for our button, right, so we know that this is a button, right? So we need something, and that would be on click, and let's create a function for that. So let's say add click. It's something like that, right? So add click, right? So now this function is not created yet, right? So we need to create that function. So to do that, I am going to create a script tag, and inside this script tag, let's create that function, which is add click, right? Yeah. So let me just do a console.log, right? And let's see if this is good. I am just click. Okay, so save that, right? Refresh here, and let me press. All right. So now what we want to do is, because we've done this, so we could be able to punch here and be sure that this our function is working. So if we punch here, and we can see on our console log that this is I am just click, right? So that gives us an indicator that this our function here is working. So I'm going to press F12 in order to bring this up. Yes, so we can see that we can see this here. So let me just drag this a little so that we can pin this here and be able to see. So let's punch now. I think I should drag this out some more. So let's punch now. Yeah, I can see this here. So that's good, right? So let's punch, right? I can see that, right? So that's super good. Right? So let's save. Alright, so let me punch. Oops, let me punch again. Let me refresh here. Alright, so punch, yes, so I can see that is good, right? Okay. So the next thing we would want to do is ability for us to be able to capture whatever is being typed here. So let's say I typed this, right? And I hit on this, I want to see it here. But before I do that, it's very important that we get a way of identifying, ensuring that every element here can be identified, right? Every element here can be identified. So if I come here and I come to element, right, you can see all the, let me refresh this so that you can have a better view. So we can see all the elements. So this is the header, for this particular page which I am, right? So we can see all the elements that are inside here. So that is good. Now what we want to do is to be able to say, oh, we want to get this input and get the value from it. So the first thing we need to do is to create a unique identifier, right? And that would be, let's say, ID, and let's just say input, right? So that's what we're naming this identifier. So we're calling it input. So I'm going to come here and say, so let's say const, should I use data? So let's use text. Okay, let's use the text, right? Which would be equals to documents, right? So document dot get element by ID. Of course, we can get elements by their name, we can get it by their class, we can get it by their style, we can get it by so many things, right? But we choose to use ID. And the ID is going to be what? Input, right? So that is what we want, the ID being input, right? So that's good. So now if I come and I say console log the z text, right? Console log z text. Let's refresh, let's save and refresh. If we do that, right, let me come to console log area here and I hit on this. So if I hit on this, you can see that we're getting the full elements, right, which is good. But our main focus is on the value. So the value of the elements, that's what we're focusing on. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to come here and say dot value and save. Oops, I didn't type. So I'll say dot value, right, and save. So if I should refresh here, come back here, and I say pizza, right, I hit here, we're going to see pizza. So that's good. Now we're getting the value, and that's what we want, right? Now the next thing that is very important is this value which we're getting here. How do we transfer it here? So we need to take that value and bring it in here, right? So that's the key. So in order for us to achieve that, we have to create an endpoint. Now that endpoint is the guy that will be responsible for taking code from here and transferring it here, right? So let's write that endpoint first. So I'm going to come here now and do something like what we've been doing up here, right? So that will be app.route, right? And inside that route, inside the route, I'm going to say impute value. Let's just do that, right? So that's right. Now, because this is an endpoint, this endpoint is different. This route is different from this kind of route. This kind of route is an endpoint, right? So endpoint must have a method. So it can either be get, update, post, and delete, right? So those are how the endpoint is supposed to be, right? So there must be a method that addresses these four that I mentioned. So we're going to define what that method would be, right? So, and for us, it is the post method. So once that is done, we have to write an endpoint, right? So let's write the endpoint function properly. So we'll do this. So now let's write the code. So I'm going to say data to be equals to let's call it, okay, so let's use our request first. So request.get underscore JSON, right? All right, so I want to print that report or this data which we just got here. Let's print it out so that we can see whether we're getting the value being typed here from the server, whether we're getting it. So I'm going to say this is the data results, right? And that's going to be data, right? Okay, so that's good. Now, of course, because this is an endpoint, we have to return something. So let me do so let's do justify, right? Let me ensure that it is being posted here. So let's say justify. It is being imported, right? So I'm going to say success to be maybe so let's just do success to be true. Right, so success to be true. So let's just do something like this, right? And okay, and let's say data should be data, right? So let's just have it like this, so something like this, right? All right, so what I'm now going to do is very simple. So we'll come to our code now to call that endpoint. Now, to read an endpoint, JavaScript by default has a method that allows us to do that, and that method is referred to as the fetch method. So I'm going to come down here and call fetch, as easy as this. Now this fetch is going to take two arguments. The first argument is going to be the endpoint route, and remember the endpoint route we use is, I think, underscore value. So let me just confirm. Yeah, impute underscore value. So that's it, impute underscore value. And the second argument is going to be a method, right? Or yeah, an object, right? So that object is going to take precisely 3 keys, right? So we're going to pass 3 values inside of it. So the first one would be method, right? So remember, what method are we using here? The method is a post method. So I'm going to say post. Then it will take headers. So these headers, we were using content type, and that content type is application/JSON, right? And lastly is body. So body is the request, right, which is this thing, right? So that is it. So we're going to say JSON.stringify, and we'll pass this our value, right? So majorly that's what we want to pass. Yeah. Now that that is done, right, so we have to really prepare the data for it to go to the backend and come back to the front end. So I'm going to say dot then, right, because this is going to be an async call. So dot then return res.json, right, again dot then, and let's do el here, which stands for element, right, and I'm going to do a console log for that, right. So let's say reading the el value, right. So let me pass el. All right, so that's good. I believe everything is fine. So if everything is correct, right, we should be able to see this print value, right, this value that we printed. We should be able to see it at the server side because this code here is running at the server side, as well as we should be able to see this el at the client side, because remember that this side is the client side. So here is for the client, here is for the server. So let's refresh and test it out, right. So again, here I am going to pass Shola, right. So I hit here. All right, so you can see on the server side we're getting the value being typed here, and let's see for the client side. Yeah, so for the client side we're seeing the el value, which is this, right. So that's good. All right, so certain preparation or safety which I want to create, which is if you hit on this button when nothing is typed. So for example, I didn't type anything here and I hit on this, you can see we're not seeing any result, and sometimes this can lead to serious error. It might break your code. So what I'm going to do is to protect the code from that kind of experience, right. So we're going to do if nothing is being typed, right. So let me just copy this, right, and this is my fetch. Let me close it. So right here I'm going to say if this is strictly equals to empty, let it alert. Yeah, so let's use alert, right. And so alert will just say please enter a name, so something like that, right. Else, right, this should happen. So we'll save that. Let me refresh here and let's try this. Now we could say please enter a name. That's good. But if I now come here and I now say pizza, right, hit here, we should be able to see pizza here, and we should be able to see this el. So that's super cool. Now this video has gotten too long, right, so we're going to pause here. In the next class, what we're going to do is we seeing live updates of what we're doing. Let's have that update displayed here. Peace out.